5 small features that we probably missed coming out in the next patch. We're excited about 11.0.7. Excited, maybe a little bit underwhelmed because it's just another island, another ring to grind, whatever. The thing I'm excited for is Undermine. But these small features could make the difference in whether or not we enjoy patches to come. So let's see what these new features are that we probably missed here from Dalaran.
Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and the past few weeks have been overwhelming when it comes to the amount of news and updates that we've gotten when it comes to World of Warcraft, specifically when it comes to the expansion of the War Within and its bright future heading into the year 2025, with the Warcraft Direct and following interviews giving us a glimpse at some of the different features and content that's arriving in the next year's update, and there's a lot to go over. And on this channel, we try to highlight all of the big stuff from the player housing that's coming out in the expansion of Midnight to the Undermined update of 11.1. But there's a lot of smaller little features that have been missed out over these past few weeks, however, that I feel like not as many players are talking about that I think are worth highlighting.
Interesting.
And I think I want to really put those features together in one single video, go over why they're important and why you should really be excited about these features, as they could be pretty major for the War Within expansion. As always, if you guys want to see more regular War Within updates like these on the channel, be sure to follow and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Give us the features.
Now, one of the smaller features that's actually arriving very, very soon with 11.07 that I don't think enough people are talking about, though we did cover it on the channel, is the racial rebalancing that's arriving with a 0.7 update, which primarily brings just a bunch of quality of life improvements when it comes to customizing your character, picking different racials, or potentially leveling up new alts, which is pretty easy to do right now in 11.05, but also going to be pretty easy with the turbulent timeways arriving with 11.07. Now, a majority of the rebalancing comes to a variety of different racials that are not seeing nearly as much play.
Look, I mean, here's the thing about racial rebalancing and everything. It's fine, it's fun, maybe it makes a few things a little bit better, but don't go picking a race over a racial. Don't do it. If you don't like the way the race looks, the way it hits, like I literally pick based on aesthetic when it comes to the race. I play a human. Why? Because I'm a human. No, really because I like the way the armor sits on them. I like the way they run, the way they jump, the way they swing their axes. I like their animations the most. They're my favorite, and I like the lore behind humans in WoW too. So that's why I picked a human. Don't give a shit about the racials. The racials are going to make literally like a 0.01% difference either way. If you want to be like the ultimate parser, then go ahead and do it. But in actuality, player skill plays an infinitely, like 99% larger role than any racial is going to play in the game for you.
And some of them look really, really good, like the Maghar, which are getting a Giga stat buff, which gets a lot more control, getting basically the power that of a unused trinket just as a racial bonus. Even the Void Elves for the Alliance are getting a fairly decent buff with the Rift that travels much quicker, but also 5% more damage as a proc, especially inside of your major cooldowns, could be absolutely astronomical.
Not bad.
Then we also have the 80% slow for the Valpera and the Nightborn, which with an 80% slow, which is very, very similar to that of almost like a Root Lyric effect, which seems like that's going to be a pretty significant addition. And even the Worgen speed buff now stacks with other effects, which may...
I'll be honest, you know where these racials probably play a bigger role in the game than other PvP. Some of these racials probably actually give, because in PvP, especially if you're talking like high-end arena and shit like that, sometimes that lasts like 0.1%, whatever it is, could be the difference between a win and a loss. Could be the difference between someone ice blocking and healing up, or, you know, keeping themselves alive. That's where maybe some of these racials play a bit of a bigger role, but if you're talking like raiding scene and shit, like it's not going to make that big of a difference.
May seem like a very small addition, but that means more mobility for every playstyle option, and in most cases mobility can be massive for a variety of classes, since it lets you get around places a little bit quicker, and mobility can be even some of the best defensive option in a variety of endgame content, which is also huge. But even some of the other options, such as the Draenei in particular with their racial, getting some nice new bonuses like a giga juiced up version of Light's Judgment, which does significantly more damage, but even a healing bonus for Holy Providence, which I think is the first time we've seen a racial that is focused on better healing output, which could be kind of nice.
Yeah.
In most cases, though, the differences between majority of racials are generally small, and players are advised in most cases to play what you like.
Exactly.
But certain racials can be a lot stronger in very specific situations. and all of these newest racial
There are also racials, by the way, that'll play better into like doing professions and things like that. I know some people like some profession Andes out there have specific profession tunes that are literally only in existence because of professions. Yeah, there are racials that will better balance those, help you mine better, get a better chance at something being looted, things like that, or quality of life things like Valpera setting up a tent, or humans having 2 hearthstones, those kinds of things. Those actually, to me, make more sense than playing off a racial that's going to give you a 0.01% damage buff. But it is what cows are the gatherers. Yeah, they are.
revamps should make all of those racials perform much better in those specific niche encounters, which should hopefully bring a little bit more balancing and variety for majority forms of endgame progression. Now, another less to talk feature that we actually have on the roadmap is the Warband UI update plus camp collections. The Warband camp is an awesome addition, and the Warband feature in general is one of my favorite parts of the War Within, but also World Soul Saga, and I am personally excited and invested to see how this feature evolves going forward. But being able to see all your characters around the campfire in your warband and being able to customize them with shaman totems and even hunter pets, changing positions, all of those things are really cool to see. Just to see some of your favorite characters all around the campfire.
Can I say something? I kind of wish that you could arrange these characters without arranging these names. I wish it wasn't in the same order, because I play my Death Knight. He's the only one I play. My other tune slots are literally like Furricus, the fucking meme character you guys maybe make as a furry. Then I have like my son's tune, and then I think like one of my old mages. But I only play my Death Knight, and he sits right here, which is kind of I don't know. I prefer him to be in the center, but I want his name at the top. I don't like having him here. Say, call me an idiot or I don't know. Maybe I'm just being over dramatic about it, but I wish I could just like move him. Just like move him right here while having his name at the top still. Just bothers me a little bit. Yeah. You can make it the only tune that shows. You could do that too, I guess. But I like having the 4. I just want him in the center. I want them all actually bowing to him. If I could even do that, that'd be cool.
The campfire standing about.
No, you're an
with
idiot,
all of the transmogs on full display. The War Within teaser initially showed off another script for Warband, more of a mock-up than anything, but it does show that there's potentially could be a possibility of future screens such as these for your Warbands with different backgrounds and even potentially different loadouts of your character.
This was a cool, like this Warband that they showed, this screen, this was the original, like, oh, this is your Warband, looks a lot more detailed than the one we currently have in game. I hope one day, and that's probably what this little patch note is all about, is we're going to be able to customize the background a little bit more. I want my Warband to be sitting at the top of Icecrown Citadel. And I would like it if you could only do that if you killed the Lich King in game. Like achievement-based Warband screens. I think that'd be badass. Or you go even deeper. Maybe you have this shit, but like the items in the background are based on achievements. So Alex Strauss's, I don't know, her ring sitting up here if you did a fucking achievement, or a boss's head sitting on a pike if you killed them. That'd be cool. Or some of your battle pets in the background if you're a battle pet master. I don't know, but just different things that you could customize in the background. That would be cool. But I just want to be sitting at the top of Icecrown with my Warband. That's it.
Favorites features, and they do have that as a updated feature for the camp collections planned for the 11.1. With more Warband options and customizations, is at least.
By the way, even look at this, the plane of this, and then look at this. You got a Valpera sitting on a barrel right here. You got this little pet out next to him. I mean, this whole thing, this whole Warband, each guy's doing a different thing. Like this he's squatting on a dildo, it looks like. You got this guy with the knee down. That's pretty cool. She's standing up. This just looks more natural than the Warband screen that we got, which is everyone's like stiffly kind of standing. Okay, she's got her hooves at the fire, but otherwise it kind of looks more out of place. I don't know. The other Warband looked cooler, like the legit just waiting to be played.
At least that's what we can kind of assume. So they don't have too much information, but they did mention that they wanted to expand on the system and give more character customization, even on little things such as the Warband screen, which is something that hopefully will be dropping very soon, or at least hopefully we'll be able to see what it looks like over on the PTR. But also there's questions of how you'll be able to get all of these different customizations. Some players assume it's just going to be different backgrounds and different campsites, while others assume it's actually going to be maybe little customization options like being able to change out the tent in the background, being able to change out what kind of a campfire you have. Do you want a simple campfire or like a massive cooking pot in between of it for, let's say, if
I hope it's both. I hope it's both.
one of your characters does cooking or something, and potentially different animations for your characters. Maybe instead of just standing around or sitting, they could be casting some spells or checking the map or anything like that. So there's a lot of opportunity for them to add even more customizability for the Warband menu. Now, another feature coming out.
I want my Death Knight carving runes into his rune blade. That's what I want. I think that'd be a bad. Imagine Samiccus just sitting with his fucking sword off to the right here, and he's just carving runes, waiting to be, picked up. As soon as you select him, as soon as maybe even if you just hover over the enter, he picks up the sword and puts it in his. That would be badass. Little things like that would be so damn cool.
Warband menu. Now, another feature coming out in future updates, which was very, very surprising for a lot of players, is Horrific Visions Revisited, which is a reintroduction of the Battle for Azeroth unique scenario, originally used as part of this Legendary Cloak catch-up mechanic, where you go into an alternate version of Stormwind or Orgrimmar, fighting a bunch of different elite enemies, bosses, delving further into the visions, into some of the more harsher areas that drain your insanity over time. And
these were fun. I'm excited to do them again. I just don't want a currency grind to get into them. I hated that shit, because if you went in to a Horrific Vision and you messed it up, you just spent all that time grinding. I forgot what we had to like assemble a key or something. I forgot exactly what you had to get, but you had to grind it out. And if you fucked it up early on, guess what? Shit's gone. Too bad. Too bad. Got to go grind it again.
I want to clear up as much of the zone of these visions as you can, delving further into more dangerous areas, and then making your way back to the boss before your insanity runs out. But the further you delve in these visions, the harder the boss would have. So it has its own like replayability mechanic, but they're bringing it back as like a relevant thematic experience of the expansion of Battle for Azeroth, which dealt with the N'Zoth as well as the old gods and the Void, and no better place to reintroduce this feature in a Void-themed expansion between War Within and Xal'atath, but also the upcoming Midnight expansion afterwards. And one of the best things about bringing this feature back, however, is an opportunity for players that may have not played in BFA, or may have done it but never really explored it fully, to go back and get a variety of different rewards and cosmetics, from a weapon illusion of Void Edge, which is a chance to drop from scenario chest piece, or potentially a Black Dragon scale back piece cosmetic from one of the vendors. There's 5 faceless masks as transmog that are from challenge mode versions of visions, 3 mounts you collect from Horrific Visions, like the Black Serpent of N'Zoth from an achievement, the Male Muncher as a random drop from mailboxes, as well as the Wicked Swarmer from the vendor, a variety of different pets like Reek, Anomalous, and Void Scarred versions of familiar pets, but also a bunch of different toys. So it makes sense for them to bring back some kind of like a Void-themed feature and activity into a Void-themed expansion, as well as the World Soul Saga, but also an opportunity for them to make a feature or a piece of content that they created a while ago a little bit more accessible and give it a little bit more playability, because Blizzard has done this a lot with previous expansions, where they add new content, they add new features, and then as we move on to the next expansion, all of the old content is completely abandoned and just kind of becomes useless, and you can't really interact with it at all.
I do hope it's like very cosmetic attached, right? Like I hope there's a ton of cosmetics you can get from this, kind of like the anniversary event, not really player power attached, but I hope Horrific Visions, you're going to get a bunch of transmog out of it, and I hope they introduce some new mounts. I think a new mount is always so fun to chase, man. I really do. Oh no, the music. Yeah, he's playing Talador in the background. I do hope that they do that. Get into a bunch of transmogs. It's fun to run. There's some story elements to it. I think these I miss these. These are pretty cool, and I'll enjoy doing them again.
They started to change the tune on that during the middle of Shadowlands, where they brought back Legion Time Walking with the Legion Mage Tower, and they even filled the Mage Tower with new types of loot as a content or piece of content that you can now access at any moment, no matter which expansion you're currently playing in. So it seems like they're trying to do something similar to make sure that old content is not completely abandoned, but something that can be revisited for players to go back and get some of the cosmetics if you potentially skipped out on it, or missed out on it for one reason or another, which I think is a good thing going forward for us to be able to restore some of the previously created content that was functional all on its own.
Sure.
Next, there's a smaller feature when it comes to the Plunderstorm, which is by itself, as a feature, as a piece of content, not small by any measure. Plunderstorm was huge when it initially released, and the fact that it was available for a limited time also kind of just makes people wonder if that is something that could become part of an evergreen feature that players could just queue into at any moment whenever they wanted to. For now, though, Plunderstorm is making...
Honestly, one of the craziest things about Plunderstorm returning is it's going to be queuable from in the game. I think that's amazing. Making Plunderstorm something you can... And I don't know if Blizzard actually confirmed this yet or not, but it has been shown on the PTR that it has a tab in the PvP tab for queuing up. So if you can play the game, run a Plunderstorm, that's amazing. That's pretty damn cool. I don't know how they're going to have the whole flip-flop between your accounts, because it's kind of like a separate character account at this point. But that whole feature, that's a big feature that I think a lot of people are not talking about. Queuable Plunderstorm from within World of Warcraft.
It can return also in a limited capacity, and it will be available for short better time for players to queue into a battle royale mode for World of Warcraft that many players that are big fans of PvP, but also those that are interested in PvP but never really got too deep into the in-depth system of rated arenas, did actually enjoy Plunderstorm by quite a bit and was very, very well perceived by the community. However, what players didn't like back then was a big renown track that it took a while to grind through with the Plunder and the Plunderstorm system, as you basically had to go in, queue games with Plunderstorm, collect Plunder, and Plunder would convert into experience, or rather reputation experience, with the faction of Plunderstorm, which is how you unlock all of these little goodies. This time, however, when Plunderstorm returns, they're changing up the way you earn those rewards through a Plunder store instead, and that's what
yeah, no more rep grinds, much better. It's just literally get the currency, get the plunder, get the shit you want from both seasons of Plunderstorm, by the way. Much better.
Really wanted to highlight to...
Are you going to play skinned, or I don't know if they're doing that. If it's still a character you create for Plunderstorm specific, or if it's going to be your character reskinned. I have no idea. I kind of wish it was just your character reskinned, honestly.
The fact that there's going to be a different way to acquire all of those goodies by participating in Plunderstorm. You will still need to complete matches of Plunderstorm, queuing up either as a solo, duo, trio, however many players you want to combine in a group together, but you'll be able to play out games of Plunderstorm, collect that plunder, and then spend that plunder separately to a separate vendor or in a plunder store. Not exactly sure how they're going to implement it, so it's not something we can really test right now over on the patch 1107 PTR as of this moment. But you'll be able to directly buy all of the unique items and all of the most sought after items from the plunder store during the Plunderstorm event. So you can skip out the fluff and buy all the best stuff, like the mounts, as well as all the best transmog, and it looks like you might even be able to purchase trade and post currency on that Plunder store as well, which
really
makes you wonder if that type of currency is going to be something that's farmable or a one-time purchase.
Oh, damn.
If it is farmable, I think the Plunderstorm could be a massive event for players to ransack it for as much trade and post currency as possible for months and months to come for all of the other Plunderstorm goodies, amounts, and other rewards.
Stoic, I know you're joking in the chat about, do I think that Fortnite Zoomers might be tempted to try WoW? No, because the sub is still attached to it. And I've said this before. If they made Plunderstorm free to play, but it still unlocked things for World of Warcraft, I feel like you could get some of those Zoomers. I do. I feel like you could get some people into WoW for the first time because they would play Plunderstorm, have a good time with it. It's a fun game mode. And then say, oh man, I unlocked these, like this bird mount for World of Warcraft. Hey, could I try, maybe do the free trial, maybe get in here, try this game out a little bit. And then they get into WoW. I do think it could be a gateway drug, but unfortunately, it still requires the sub, which to me is the biggest gateway of all, and that's going to still stop people from getting into the game.
But again, time will tell exactly how that will end up functioning.
Like, people are not going to sub for Plunderstorm.
But I think if they did make it farmable, it would be a massive experience with so many players grinding out as much of this currency as humanly possible. Now, another smaller feature, part of the 11.1 update that still we don't have too much information on, not for the lack of trying, but rather because we're waiting still for the 11.1 PTR, is the new DRIVE, the Vehicle Mount Movement System, coming out with the Undermine update.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Essentially, it's like skywriting with its own movement and abilities and some kind of a recharge bar, but for ground mounts specifically. And it will be primarily utilized within the zone of Undermine, as the zone is essentially designed for primarily ground movement and transportation over skywriting. Well, skywriting is completely going to be gone out of 11.1, as there will be some certain areas, especially when it comes to endgame activities, where you still will be able to fly around, but within the zone of Undermine specifically, it was designed from the ground up.
Yeah, I kind of excited for this. Like, I don't like it when Blizzard takes away flying, but the fact that they're giving us this new ground riding system, and we're going to be in a city, right? We're going to be in Undermine. It's a goblin city, and everybody's going to be on the ground in this city. I feel like it's going to feel like very alive. Like we're gonna be like, whoa, there's so many people here. That's what I'm excited for. I just feel like it's gonna feel like a very alive city because everybody is grounded. I think it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be kind of refreshing.
As a area where you wanted to traverse on your ground mount specifically. So at the very least, they took into account the design, the size of the zone, and just how far you'll be able to get around just through ground movement on its own. While not a lot of info has been announced regarding the new hot rod mount that we'll be able to customize within the undermined area, we do know some info about it, like it'll be able to move 4 to 5 times faster than a normal ground mount, which does mean quite a significant bit of additional movement speed that most players are used to. No detailed customization like skywriting mounts when it comes to the appearance specifically, but instead of customizing the mount's appearance, you'll actually be customizing the mechanical components of that mount.
I don't know if that's true though. I bet you if there's no customizing appearance yet, I think there's gonna be. There's no way they don't make these hot rods customizable. It's so easy. You can put zebra skin on the seat, make it look completely goblined out, purple paint. This would be a really easy thing to add customizations to. I can't imagine that they won't.
Instead, you will be able to swap out the paint job, for instance, so you'll be able to paint them out in a variety of different ways. But where a lot of the customization will come from is changing the actual moving components of the vehicle, like the handling if you want better grip on the road, or if you want to have a bit more drift as you skirt your way around the turns. You will be able to do engine swap.
You know what's going to happen, right? You guys already know what's going to happen. The WoW community is so degenerative, there is going to be a meta for your drive stats. I guarantee it. There's going to be like a perfect amount of drift and speed and acceleration that everyone, like, it's going to be on Wowhead. This is the meta. If you want to win races, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then everyone's going to do it. And then, oh, okay, it's not really customizable anymore. Oh my fucking God. Yep, believe it. Believe it. This is WoW, guys. You guys know the kind of people we are. It's going to be a meta.
For either better acceleration or potentially reaching the highest top speeds available to better customize your experience when it comes to traversal and movement. You'll be able to change out some of the different boost components, and potentially there will be even kind of like a chaotic boost system that you can apply, or something that's a little bit more stable and a little bit more predictable. And you might even have potentially possible companions that you can add into your vehicle for some additional customizability and even functionality uses. So the vehicle itself will be customized in a very, very different way, and a huge portion of this customizations from the intros we've been able to see so far.
This raid looks so cool, man. I'm so excited to go into a raid that's all lit up and fun and everything. We would just do cave raid after cave raid. I can't wait to get in here.
Acquired from the Goblin cartels, 4 of them that you'll be able to progress through different renown tracks and reputation bonuses once 11.1 officially launches. Now, the car system is essentially built specifically for the experience that is the Undermine zone. So it isn't something that's initially meant to be utilized outside of the zone initially, but very, very similar to how skywriting was initially used only within the Dragon Isles and only on the back of your dragon mount. It was a system that was beloved by the community, and the amount of flying and the movement and the freedom that came with it is so much more fun than the normal flying. And if the system is successful, very similar to skywriting, and if the community is very receptive to it, like if they actually prefer it over normal ground mounts, then it will likely end up influencing their decisions for the mount going forward. So if this new drive system functionality works a lot better and players are very receptive to it, then it's very likely it will influence how the rest of our ground mounts will be functioning in the rest of the open world of Azeroth. But as always though, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, and I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give it a like. I would very, very much appreciate it. Join our Discord community if you want to keep up with all the future War Within updates. Also, let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. Which of these features you think is going to be your favorite? And as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.
Good video from Dalaran. The features he talked about, what were they specifically? We had the drive thing. We had, what was it? The Plunderstorm shit. We had the racials reworked. Yes, these features are not like major front page features, although Plunderstorm is, and kind of so is Drive a little bit. But all in all, good features, nice stuff to remember. A lot of things coming out soon in the game, and a good year to look forward to, I think, for WoW as a whole.